This week on No Cell Service, our hosts cover the Halloween anthology, Trick or Treat. This content is intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised.
So,
this movie, what a classic.
It is one of my all-time favorites.
Sorry, that's probably bad.
Sam is just adorable. Our main antagonist, our main Halloween mascot. I don't know what you would like to call our little boy.
Yeah, I mean, in the spirit of Halloween, he's the protagonist.
That is fair, but in the spirit of being a human, he is the antagonist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start, because, like, first of all, this movie's a bit older, right? So, like...
I think this is the... No, it's not the oldest, because 28 Days Later came out in 06? 02?
Oh, yeah, 06, I think. Right?
I don't know. Now I feel weird. I gotta double check.
Yeah, I don't know. But didn't this come out in, like, late 2000s?
07.
07, yeah.
So 28 Days Later came out in 02, so that's the
02.
The oldest one we've done. This is 07, but this one's a bit different because it didn't have a theatrical release. This was straight to DVD on accident.
Mm-hmm. Wait, on accident?
It was slotted to get a theatrical release, and Warner Bros. Pulled it. And then it went straight to DVD. Interesting. Yeah. I did end up seeing it in theaters years later.
Oh, did they just, like, re-release it?
Yeah, I think Harkins did, like, a throwback night, or I can't remember if it was actually in line with Trick or Treat, whether it was, like, an anniversary or something, but I did get to see it in theaters, and it was fantastic.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, I was very happy about it.
This movie is a lot of fun. It's a bit crazy, because it definitely, like, it hops between a couple different timelines, I guess.
Yeah, so we have, like... I think it's 4 or 5 different timelines that are all happening on Halloween night, and they all are happening simultaneously. We get an opening with a couple arguing, Emma, and I don't know the husband's name. Yeah. We get them, they're walking home, and they are fighting about whatever, and she's like, oh yes, it makes me want to think Halloween, like, have Halloween be every night. She starts, like, taking down Halloween decorations, and he's like, no, like, I'll do it tomorrow, or, like, the spirit of the season. And
yeah, she goes to blow out a candle inside a pumpkin. He's like, no, you can't do that. Like,
it's tradition.
And he's like, you're gonna upset someone. And she's like, upset who? Like, you know, the typical, like, who would I upset by doing this?
She's not great. I don't like either of them to start with, or these two I don't like. And then she, like, starts taking everything down because she's like, my mom's gonna be here in the morning. Why is your mom gonna be there November 1st and not expect Halloween decorations for one?
Yeah, also, if you don't like Halloween this much, why do you decorate your house more than
anyone else on the block?
Yeah,
she had a shit ton of decorations, and like, my guess is useless husband loves Halloween, decorates, but never tears down.
That's fair.
Because she's like, I need to tear all of this down, and he's like, no, I said I'll do it. And she's like, you're going to sleep till noon and play video games till 5. What do you mean you're going to do anything?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do, I think it is funny, though, that, like, yeah, as soon as they get home, he's just like, let's fuck. And she's like, I gotta take these down. He's like, but I want to fuck.
Yeah, he gets so pouty about it, and then she, like, caves and is like, go put on the tape. And he's like, fuck yeah. Goes upstairs and puts on a weird porno.
Yeah, and then he's up in the bedroom doing whatever, and she's down, like, out front taking down decorations.
They're, like, fake ghosts, so it's like a tee of wood with, like, a fabric head, and then they threw a sheet over it, and so she's ripping down all of these sheets, and it's a very, like, tension building scene where you're like, oh, there's gonna be, like, a dead body under one of them, or those kinds of stuff. And there's a weird masked guy standing across the street just staring at her, and it's just like, oh my god, like, is this gonna be a murderer? What is this? And then it turns out to be, like, a teenager who's waiting for his ride.
Yeah, he like a car drives up and he takes off his mask. It's just a dude. You're like, oh. She's like, okay, you know, like, whatever. She keeps ripping off, like, more, you know, like, taking down the rest of the ghost stuff, and then
we get a few shots of a different POV that's definitely watching her.
Yes, it's like a short POV, and it's behind like some sort of material.
Yeah, like
fabric.
Those scream masks that have, like, fabric over the eyes. It's like looking through that where it's like you can fully see, but it's a little, like, odd.
Yeah,
it's a little, like, blurrying, and it's definitely like from waist high, like maybe 3 feet off the ground is like the height. So it's either like someone crouching or like a child.
Well, and you can kind of hear like breathing, and you can tell that it's like smaller lungs.
Yeah, it's not like an adult huff, like the type thing.
It's like when a child does it, because it's very like light.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like airy, or like I don't know how else to describe it.
If you heard a child run and then huff dramatically, this is what
It's like that.
Beautiful ASMR, us breathing deeply into the mics right now.
It's so funny.
So we get that, and then as she's throwing a bunch of the sheets into a box, something springs out of the box and just starts going after her. You can't even see what it is, and she's just getting clobbered, and
yeah, she starts screaming, and blah, blah, blah. It's all crazy, and then it cuts to the husband
who fell asleep watching the weird porno.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, it's just this chick screaming because she's getting railed real nice," and falls back asleep.
Yeah, but yeah, he gets up, and obviously he's like, "Where the fuck's my wife?" So he goes downstairs and he goes out into the front yard to check, and
all the decorations are put back up.
Yeah, there's still like everything up, and like everything's as if she didn't touch it, and he starts walking around.
He bumps into a severed limb, but we got a shot earlier where they had fake limbs hanging from the tree. Yeah. So he's kind of just like, oh, that's weird. And then he turns around and there is a bloody, I don't think it's bloody. There's a sheet with a bunch of blinking lights under it. And he's like, what the fuck? And he rips it off, and it's Emma's head with the iconic sucker stuffed in her mouth. And it's just her head. And he's like, has the worst like reaction. Yeah. I feel the actor does not do well with this scene where he's like Yeah. It's like a weird scream. And then we get.
I do want to say, when it comes to the lollipop in the mouth, it is a comically large lollipop. So when it's shoved into her mouth, it is like
it stretches her in like a Joker grin type deal.
A bit disturbing, but also like kind of silly. In like a weird way.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like setting the tone, in a way.
Exactly.
But yeah, and then it goes into this like comic book style like
title opening.
Yeah.
If you watch it, it's like gives some background information and kind of not exactly spoils some things, but kind of foreshadows some things. Mm-hmm. It tells you about the town. It tells you like it almost shows you the characters too that we'll be following. And yes, there is a comic book that goes along with the movie, but it was not before the movie. Mm. The movie is not based off the comic book. The comic book came after. It's actually based off of a student film, Michael, how do you say, Dougherty? How do you say his last name?
Dougherty?
Dougherty, thank you. Mm. Michael Dougherty did in 1996.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the year we were born.
That's crazy.
Sam's as old as we are.
Yeah, damn. I bet he's probably older than that, but,
that was the first, like, because I have the DVD, I was able to watch the animation. He puts the short animation of the original concept of Sam in there, and then he does a commentary on top of it. Oh, that's and he talks about how, like, Sam kind of just was this character that started, like, appearing, and he wasn't really named Sam at first, and just, like, he wanted a mascot for Halloween. So he's like, you got the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and like all these other things, and Halloween doesn't have a mascot. I wanted a mascot. Yeah. And so we get Sam, and if you ever wonder why his name is Sam, it's a variation on Samhain, because that's how Samhain is spelled, as Samhein, I believe. Oh. So that's Samhain, but it's Gaelic or Celtic. Mm-hmm. And gotta be. So it is. It's the Celtic. I think it's the Celtic festival, right? And so that's how it's pronounced. And he's like, yeah, but like Sam fits him so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah, and if you should watch the animation, it's really fun.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's all hand done animation and like hand colored, so it's like cell. Oh my god,
I love that.
It's so cool.
I gotta check that out. I love that stuff. But yeah, so after the intro, you come into this scene of like it's like a clothing store or like a I couldn't tell if it was like a Halloween shop or just like a store.
Yeah, so I think it is a costume store.
Yeah.
Or like a party city with a small party city that had, I say party city and it's out of business. This isn't even a normal reference anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a party store that either is like party year round or is literally just a Halloween costume store. Yeah. And we get introduced to 4 college age-ish ladies. Yeah. And they're all picking out their new costumes. They're all in the changing rooms talking to each other. And we get kind of their backstory that they do big Halloween things every year. They talk about like, oh, we need to get dates. And then they're like trying to make fun of one of them because like she got a girl date and she's like, I don't discriminate. Like, hey, it worked for me.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get all of this thing. And fun fact, the peeping Tommy, the little kid who's looking, is the actor who plays Sam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Quinn Lord, I think is his name.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's the only time you get to see his face, but he is who plays Sam, so that's a fun little thing.
Little kid runs up and, like, peeps in on them while they're changing into their Halloween costumes.
And they get yelled at for talking about getting ass and whatever.
Yeah, some lady's like, there are children out here, and they just start laughing, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But then 3 of them, they come out, and they're dressed like...
Princesses, except Bo Peep.
Yeah.
So we have Bo Peep, Snow White, and Cinderella.
Yeah.
And we have Cinderella is Danielle, Bo Peep is Janet, and Snow White is, I believe, Maria.
Yeah. You know, of course, finally they introduce the 4th girl who's like really shy and doesn't want to come out in her costume.
And
Like, just come on out. And she's like, I don't want to, you know, like that typical kind of thing.
And then they're like, it's tradition. You have to do it.
Yeah. And she's like... Isn't it a little cliche? And it just, I don't know.
It's a kind of a weird back and forth, but she's dressed as Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's tradition. Like, you look good. Like, you're going to do it. Like, it's going to be fine. And you're like, what kind of fucking tradition is this where she has to dress as Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
You give, like, zero context.
Well, they just keep talking about, like, it sounds like fucking. You know, they're just like horny ass teenagers.
Yeah, she's like, this is going to be your first time. Like, this is tradition. This is how it works. Blah, 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 blah. And they keep talking about a party at Sheep's Meadow.
Yeah.
And they
invite the clerk there when they go up to the front counter.
Danielle shows how easy it is to get a date, and she just invites the cashier to come to the party later.
It's like, when are you off work? And he's like, actually 20 minutes, which I like to think that he was off in like 3 hours from then. He was just like, no, fuck this place, I'm out.
He's staring at her tits the entire time in her Cinderella dress, and he's just like, 33 double D's, and he's like, oh wait, what?
I'm gonna go to this party.
Like, I don't care.
Course.
Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And
then that's actually about it for that, because then it cuts to a fat kid walking down I mean, what else? Like, it's a fat kid walking down the sidewalk, chocolate covering his face.
He's smashing jack-o'-lanterns.
He's smashing pumpkins along the way.
He's dragging his candy sack like it's not gonna rip.
Yeah.
By the way, like,
just
he's
on the ground.
It's dragging through the mud. It is gross looking. Like, that poor candy.
Yeah. No, it was
He goes up to a house and grabs some candy, and is like, fuck it. Grabs the entire bucket of candy and dumps it in his bag, and then who we learn is Mr. Wilkins comes up, who is the principal at the school.
Yeah.
And he's like, that can't be very good for your diabetes, Charlie.
Yeah, he's very just, like, smart-ass about it.
He's like, sit down, it's fine. And he has, like, a really awkward conversation with this kid. He's like, I had to go get a knife because mine was too dull for my jack-o'-lanterns. And if you watch the scene, like, Charlie looks at him and just kind of, like, scoots away.
Yeah,
he's like,
dude,
weird.
This guy's crazy. But, like, he's sitting there, like, carving a pumpkin. Well, he gives him a chocolate bar, doesn't he?
I think it was one of the ones from, I don't know if it was from the bucket, but Charlie is eating a chocolate bar. I can't remember if Mr. Wilkins gives it to him or not, but it's from this house.
Yeah.
And he's just going off about like, the traditions of Halloween and, like, what it used to mean and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my dad used to...
And this is, this is what I was taught about how it's honoring the dead and blah, 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 blah. And Charlie's like, okay, weirdo. Yeah. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then Charlie starts coughing, and Wilkins, like, doesn't really mind it too much until he's like, oh, you doing okay? You know, there's, like, another tradition of check your candy. And then Charlie just pukes. Just freaking, like...
Just starts heaving up, like... I think it's a mixture of chocolate and blood.
That is my guess,
because it's, like, brownish red, and...
Just keeps going.
It just keeps going. It's like... My first thought when watching this scene was, like, how did they get the kid to do that? Because I think at that age... I would have been like, I don't want to, like... I
think if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, but I think I saw this forever ago, they had, like, a fake tube that they were able to just, like, stuff from, and I can't remember, because, like, I couldn't find it. It just looked
like it literally just, like, came out of his mouth. Like, they did a really good job on it, so that's why I was like, did they just, like, did this kid elect to get really sick like on set?
If I remember correctly, it like was, I want to say like a mannequin or something that they had that they were able to shove this tube in and just like everywhere. Because it's really good. That's one thing about this movie. Like, I do really like the practical effects they use a lot.
The effects are like really high quality, and
Yeah.
you don't expect that. Like when you go into the beginning of the movie, you're like, oh, this is gonna be
Super
medium to
cheesy.
low budget sloth.
Yeah.
But it's actually like you're pretty surprised when those scenes do actually come up.
Yeah.
Like when Charlie is heaving up everything.
Yeah, and he like heaves up all over Mr. Wilkins, and he just like stares at him, and he's like, great, because Charlie like collapses on him and then like throws up all over him, and he's like, guess we're dealing with this now. And he like grabs a sucker and like, you know, does this whole thing.
Starts dragging Charlie into the house. As he's dragging this kid through the house, he gets a knock on his door because, of course, it's Halloween. Who's going to be knocking on the door every 20 seconds? Children.
We get the trick-or-treaters who we will see consistently knocking at a few different houses. We have an cherub, a pirate, and an alien.
Yes.
And they ask if they can have his jack-o'-lantern because it's for UNICEF and it's a treasure or a scavenger hunt. And he's like, as long as you don't smash it, that's fine. And you're just like, okay. And the pirate boy is like staring at him a little harder, like, what the hell?
He's like, what the fuck?
And then he walks away, and behind the pirate boy is Sam, our little burlap sack boy. And Wilkins is like, oh, did you not get one? And like Sam reaches in and grabs just like the biggest chocolate bar ever and stares at him and then walks away.
Yeah.
And
starts dragging his sack behind him. And in the sack behind Sam that he's dragging, as it thumps down the steps, you can kind of faintly hear what sounds like maybe an animal. I thought it was a cat.
Really?
Just being like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," like as it's thumping down like off of
I
his
didn't hear
steps. It's so. I was laughing. I was like, holy shit! Sam's just got whatever the fuck in there.
You know what? Should we describe what Sam looks like, since this is kind of the first time we actually see him?
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen this movie, Sam is child size, maybe like 8-year-old size.
He wears like an orange jumper.
Yeah, orange footy pajamas.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And then he has a burlap sack that is a perfect circle. Like it would go over a pumpkin perfect circle.
Like a brown potato burlap sack.
With button eyes and a stitched in smile.
Yep, but it's... I would be surprised if you haven't seen an image of Sam at least once before, because like his image will just pop up randomly on the internet, you know, because this is just such a well-known like Halloween movie.
It's a very iconic one too. If you've ever gone into like Spirit Halloween, if you haven't seen Sam, you've definitely seen the sucker, because it's an orange sucker that looks like a pumpkin that has a bite taken out of it, and then the stick is orange and black striped. I actually have a replica of it at my house.
Yeah, it's so sick.
So that's Sam. That's our main little guy, who pops in and out of all of these storylines. So right now we have 3 going. We have the couple, we have the girls, and we have Mr. Wilkins. And our 4th story is the trick-or-treaters, the 3 trick-or-treaters, the cherub, the pirate, and the alien. Those are going to be our 4th story.
Yeah, but we're still on Mr. Wilkins, because he finishes up with the kids at the front door, and he ends up taking Charlie's body out back, and he starts digging a hole.
Oh, no, the hole is already dug.
Oh, the hole's already dug?
The hole, he just moves a tarp.
Oh, that's right.
And inside the hole is already another body.
No, that's right. You're right. Yeah, so he goes to take Charlie out back and dump him in this hole. He gets down into the hole, and then his neighbor's dog starts like barking. And,
like under the fence, like there's a hole under the fence, and his name is Spite, not Spike. Spite.
That's great.
I always thought it was Spike until I watched it with subtitles, and I was like, oh, Spite.
That's
okay.
funny.
So Spite is barking at him, and he like cuts off a very phallic-looking finger to feed this dog.
Yeah.
And so he throws it at the dog, and the dog is like, oh, look, a fingy. Let me nom on this, and stops barking. But his neighbor, Mr. Krieg, comes out and is yelling about his shotgun and his NRA membership, and it's just like, dude, you have neighbors, you live in a town, like, why would you think you need to shoot someone? It's just your neighbor.
Yeah, like, okay. And Wilkins is like, oh no, like, it's just your neighbor, and Krieg like peers through the fence and is like, what are you doing down there? You hiding bodies? And Wilkins is like, ha ha.
It's just a septic line. He's like, is that what the smell is? It's a very fun interaction.
So funny.
He's like, yeah, it smells like a whore's asshole out here, or something like that.
It smells like a dead whore out here.
And
clean it up.
As Krieg is walking away, we don't really get to see him. We're kind of just like looking at him through the fence, and he's like, keep your damn kid out of my yard. And he's like, Happy Halloween, what?
Yeah, because we do actually, I forgot, isn't it before his kid shows up in the window?
No, it's
up top
after.
and starts yelling.
He yells twice, so I don't know the exact extent. No, it's after. I have it written down. So after he goes back inside, Billy is yelling about like wanting to do a jack-o'-lantern and how he's back from trick-or-treating, and he's like, Billy, keep it down, we have neighbors, what are you doing? And he's just like, okay, screaming, and like all the while Wilkins is like stomping on the kid in the hole trying to get him to shut up, and he's like, go watch Charlie Brown. He's like, Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Yeah, dude, that line always cracks me up.
And so
watch Charlie Brown.
He's like, we haven't done anything fun. Can I go to the parade with you? And he's like, how about we make candy apples like Grandpa used to do?
Oh, yeah. He says he's got a date.
Yeah, the parade is for him and a date.
Yeah, so he's like, why don't we, make candied apples just like you and...
We did with Grandpa or whatever.
Something like
that. He goes back inside and Billy's like, okay, slams the window, and we get it, like, it fast forwards obviously, and Wilkins is watering a tree that is now on top of the hole. It's like, Daddy, I want to make a jack-o'-lantern. Daddy, I wish Mom was still alive. And just like, is mocking his own son, who is maybe max 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, so funny.
He's just such a dick to his own son.
Oh, it is hilarious though, because the actor, I can't remember his name, but like he's just such a funny actor for that kind of role.
I think it works really well.
Yeah.
And as he's going back inside, Krieg is pounding on the window on his side. Like, he's in his house pounding on the window, screaming for help, and like it's really muffled. So Wilkins just looks at him like, screw you, and walks inside. And you're just like, oh, that's weird. And you kind of just leave it with that. And
well, as you see, so Wilkins walks inside, and then it cuts back to Krieg banging on the window, and then you see him get like attacked, and like he just gets pushed out of frame, and you're like, oh, okay, and then it fucking moves on.
Yeah, but that's all we see of that, because he goes back inside, and Billy is asking about a pumpkin again, and Wilkins is so creepy this entire time. He's like, yes, let's carve a pumpkin. Let's go into the basement, and the kid's like, help me with the eyes. Yeah, and if you look,
help me with the eyes.
If you look at Billy, he's dressed like Chucky.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a striped shirt with overalls, and he's a little redhead, and it was like meant to be like he's supposed to look like Chucky.
That didn't even clock for me.
Well, because like even when you think about it, he's like, I just got back from trick or treating.
Yeah.
And like, so he should still be in his costume, and so his costume was Chucky.
That's great.
And so there's a lot of like little things throughout the movie. Like Mr. Krieg is supposed to look like John Carpenter. He's modeled after John Carpenter.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Brian Cox, I think, is the actor, and he's like, I met John Carpenter one time, and his like British accent. He's like, I just thought, perfect, his thin nose and his hair.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Now I just picture John Carpenter doing that whole his whole storyline.
Oh, that's the best.
And there's like a bunch of other little things. There's like Plymouth that drives by with the bus, and just like a bunch of little other nods. And if you do side by side comparisons to some of the shots, like, they're comparative to shots from Halloween, and like Laurie is named after Laurie from Halloween, and like there's a bunch of just nods to other
that's cool.
Halloween movies, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's sick.
While that is happening, we get a few quick cuts back to the girls who are all talking about getting a date. The other two, Bo Peep and Snow White, go ask a TV crew who we saw earlier. A film crew was filming the parade that was happening, and they like talk about how this happens every Halloween. It's in a full swing, and we get the girls with the TV show just ending. They go up to the cameraman and one of the gear guys being like, we have one small problem. We don't have any dates to this party. Like, do you want to come with us? And there's her face, the Bo Peep's face at this point is just like Grizzly's. Like,
oh yeah.
No thoughts behind the eyes. She's just staring
like...
blankly. And Snow White has to like elbow her, and she's like, we don't have any dates. Yep, that's what's happening. We're asking you on a date right now.
Yep.
And then we get another one of Danielle and Laurie, and she's like, come on, just choose any guy. And this is where we get Laurie being like, I just wanted to be special and like whatever. And she's like, I'll help you. And she's like, no, like, go ahead. I'll meet you guys at the party. Like, I'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so just, some cuts like that. And then we start following the kids from trick-or-treating. The pirate is Chip, the cherub is Macy, and the alien is Sarah. And they're continuing doing their jack-o'-lantern search. They come across another kid who is another friend of theirs. He's dressed like Skeletor? I don't know. He's in a purple suit with a skeleton mask.
Yeah, I guess. Wait, sorry. Did we get to the end of Wilkins? Like
Oh,
when they
I'm
go down
sorry.
in the
I just
basement?
skipped over that because I skipped my next bullet was him being Chucky. And so
Oh
I skipped over.
I get
No,
it.
you're good. Retcon that.
We briefly forgot to mention. So Wilkins takes his son down into the basement and then like sits him down and then like proceeds to pick up a knife and go to like stab.
And you think he's gonna stab
You
Billy?
think he's gonna stab Billy because he's talking shit and he's just like saying all this shit about it, how he like assuming he hates his son or whatever.
It sounds like he hates his son.
But then like it cuts over to a different angle and
He stabbed a head.
he stabbed Charlie's head.
Yeah.
And he has Charlie's head sitting there on a rotating plate, and him and Billy are just admiring the head.
And Billy's like, don't forget to help me with the eyes.
Don't forget to help me with the eyes.
And so they mentioned the grandfather, so this is like a generation of serial killers happening.
Yeah, which is terrifying.
Yeah, so sorry I skipped over that.
No worries. It's such this movie jumps between like 5 different stories.
Yeah, so
it's
keeping
hard to
them
like
a little straight, like the Wikipedia has it broken up by like story.
Yeah, same with like
instead of doing it the way we're doing, which is chronologically, mostly because I want to talk about the timeline later. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to do it chronological. So it's really jumpy, but the movie does a really good job of jumping between each one. It never feels like startling to follow another character's storyline.
No, and everything gets pieced together very well, like throughout the whole thing. So.
Yeah. So now we'll cut to Sarah, Macy, and Chip meeting their fourth friend, who I really don't know what he's supposed to be. He's in a purple suit with a black undershirt and a skeleton mask that has, like, I think a bullseye on the forehead.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got me what the hell that's supposed to be.
I don't know what he was either.
But he has a shopping cart with 1 pumpkin or 2 pumpkins in it, and they're like, is that all you got? And he's like, someone went down the street smashing pumpkins. And so you get like fun nods to the other storylines as the story progresses. Because
we know who was smashing pumpkins.
Exactly. They cross over the street to a house covered in jack-o'-lanterns. I think it's Chip is like, why didn't we start here?
Yeah.
And Macy's like, I didn't know she'd do this. And they bully her before she even comes out of the house.
Yeah.
Calling her an idiot savant and some other choice words that I will choose not to use. Rhonda comes out and she's dressed as a witch. And
just a cute little girl with glasses, very shy.
Yeah,
She's
very
just
shy.
Very like intimidated by people, understandably. Those kids are assholes.
And she seems to have a thing for our skeleton mask guy, whose name is Schrader.
Schrader, yeah.
Schrader. What? I've never heard that name in my life.
Schrader and Rhonda sitting in a tree.
That does not roll off the tongue very well.
No, it's the worst.
And so you get it kind of like off the bat because these kids were bullying her before she even came out, that something bad is going to happen. This is not a friend group. This is a bully situation.
Yeah.
Especially because like it seemed like this is the first time Rhonda is introduced to Schrader because Schrader's like, I'm Schrader. And so you're just like, oh no, like what's going to happen? Because they're preteens, like middle school age. And you know, middle school girls are so mean. Like, oh, and Macy just gives off the energy. Like the actress does a very good job of giving off the energy of, you're a mean girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not even like in a funny or like charismatic way almost. Just in a straight like, you're just a fucking bitch.
The facial expressions, man. Like, the eyebrow raises and the way her face goes from, like, resting bitch face to bitch face.
Yeah.
Like, props to her. I don't even know if she's
true.
in anything else, but, like, especially...
She's always at bitch, and then it just gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's
good.
She's so good. The kids do a really good job in this movie. Mm-hmm. See,
They go out to... They walk to the edge of this, like, cliff.
Yeah, they're walking forever.
It's caught like fog. It's like an ocean of fog just past the cliff, which I wish stuff like that existed in real life because how cool would it, like that would be the ultimate smoke spot.
Yeah,
but
the abandoned quarry. They call it a lake at one point, but it's an abandoned rock quarry that got filled with water.
Those places exist, but they're never covered in a blanket of fog as thick as that. I would say, as far as the ultimate smoke spot goes, anywhere with dense amounts of fog like that. Like if I could live up in the mountains, that'd be fine, you know. But dude,
like Oregon forest, right after it rains with all of that, like so good.
Yes, everything's green. Anyways, sorry,
enough about the places we want to live. They go to the abandoned quarry, which the elevator still works.
Yeah, crazy enough. And yeah, we'll get into that. But one of the kids asks, like, why are we here?
Yeah, Sarah asks, the alien girl asks, she's like, why are we even here? And then Macy gets into this whole story about 30 years ago, there was, I have it. 30 years ago, I didn't know the right term. I used SPED for special education.
I don't think it was that, though. I think
They were disabled kids.
Well, it wasn't. I think it was like a mix of disabled and like what's the word? Wow, I can't think of the word. The only word that comes to mind is degenerate.
No, it was specifically like SPED kids.
It was just they were literally just.
Yeah, they were all like some form of handicap, mentally or physically.
Oh yeah, okay, that just makes it even more fucked up then.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Continue.
So I'll stick with the SPED term. We have teacher friends, so that's why I use SPED. There are 8 SPED kids on a bus, all dressed up for Halloween. You hear a kid counting house numbers. Like, as you're passing a house, as he says the house number, and you can see that it's like the Nero spicy of, I know where I am because I've memorized all of these things.
Yeah,
and as soon as the bus stops, he's like, we shouldn't be stopping here. And the bus turns, and he's like, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way.
Yeah.
And like instantly clocks it.
Yeah, so...
I guess how I should explain it is, as she's telling the story, we get the real...
Yeah, we
what
get an
happened.
actual, like, clip or like a flashback of like what actually happened as she's telling the story. So like you see these kids, but she's essentially telling the story of like the parents of these kids essentially like were tired of having these children.
Yep, because they were embarrassed by them and they didn't want to deal with them, and just like, damn, none of you should have been parents if you weren't prepared for the consequences.
Yeah, seriously. But all of the parents pay the bus driver to, I guess, take them to the quarry, and then like I guess he was supposed to.
Yeah, so I think they paid him to kill their kids.
Yeah,
and I guess make it look like an accident. Mm-hmm. So what I think is supposed to happen, so the kids are all chained up, and he gives them candy and makes it act like it's a big old secret, and like he's doing something nice for them.
Stops at the edge of the quarry and then like puts the bus in park and starts like going back and passing out candy to all the kids and checking to make sure that their
restraints are good.
Yeah.
And the entire time our vampire boy is freaking out because he knows this is not where they're supposed to be, and he's giving candy, doing all that kind of stuff. The vampire kid, after he gets passed over and checked, he breaks free of the chains because they're not metal handcuffs, they're the like leather ones that will hurt to get off, but it's not going to break anything. There's more give to him. So he gets out of it while the bus driver's at the back of the bus and gets to the front of the bus because the bus isn't turned off, and he just starts hitting all the levers and buttons and accidentally puts it in drive and crashes into the quarry.
Yep, and just drives the bus off the cliff.
And I think that was what was supposed to happen, except I think the bus driver was supposed to like get off
I think
before.
He was probably planning on putting a cinder block on the
That's what I thought.
Pedal or something, you know.
But he ends up getting...
But he gets tripped by one of the other kids, so he falls in the middle of the bus, and yeah, it just fucking goes off the edge.
And you watch it sink into all of this water that's built up over God knows how long.
Yeah.
Macy's like narration is like, and no one ever heard from the bus driver again. But then you see the bus driver like pop out of the water and makes it to the edge and is just like breathing really hard, like he just almost drowned.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, as far as they know, the bus driver didn't make it. But as far as we know, he at least made it to shore.
So he's probably maybe still alive.
50-50.
Yeah. And the rumor is that the bus is still down there, and obviously so are the kids. And Macy says it's either no one looked hard enough or the parents didn't want to.
Yeah. So the reason they brought the pumpkins is to go
8 offerings for 8 souls.
Yeah, an offer like 1 pumpkin per.
Which shouldn't it be 9 if the bus driver is still down there?
But I don't think in a story like that you wouldn't count the bus driver because he's technically the bad guy, right?
Yeah, but in my head I'm like, if there's 8 souls that might, or like 9 souls that might come after me, like, might as well.
Yeah, I don't know. These fucking kids end up firing up a generator or what the fuck ever, and turning on this elevator that goes down into the quarry.
Yep.
I'm so
Macy?
bad with it. Macy and
Schrader. And Sarah. They go into the elevator first, and Macy's like, it can only hold 3. You 2 come with the rest of the pumpkins.
Yeah,
and
she's like, I'll send the key back up. Which, where the fuck did you get the key to this?
The elevator? I don't know.
Elevator for a rock quarry.
I think this storyline has the most plot holes.
Yeah.
For this part specifically. We did, there's a little bit of Chip getting to know Rhonda a little bit on the walk over here that we kind of skipped over. That's only a little important for later, but like Chip kind of likes her, like as a friend. It's like, oh, she's kind of cool, and is like, oh, I like your witch hat or whatever. And Rhonda goes on a whole spiel about like her special interest is Halloween.
Yeah.
And goes off on it. And then you can see Chip be like, oh no, I got myself into something. And so she stops and she's like, I like your eye patch. And Chip is like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You like my eye patch. And as they're waiting, they hear howling. And Rhonda's like, werewolves. Clocks it off the bat. It's just like werewolves. And Chip is like, wait, what? Are you being serious right now? And he freaks out a little.
Yeah.
As they're going down the elevator, they start hearing them talking like, oh, like we should leave the pumpkins here or over there. Like it's normal conversations with
Chip
them.
and Rhonda start going down the elevator by themselves. And like below in the fog, you can hear Schrader and Macy and Sarah all talking.
Yeah, and it's normal at first, like, oh, maybe we should look over here. Oh, maybe that's, like, maybe it's over here. And then they hear them screaming, like, what's that? What is happening? And then, like, screams that end up dying out. And as they get down to the bottom, Rhonda gets out and it looks over at Chip and is like, are you coming? And he's like, no, I'm not coming. I'm going to stay here. And so she closes the door on him and is like, okay, like, wait here.
It's cute, though, because she, like, gives him a candle and she's like, make sure it doesn't go out and it'll protect you, okay?
Well, she says stay with the jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, stay with the jack-o'-lanterns, they'll keep you safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super nice to Chip.
Very sweet.
And then as she, like, walks through, and it's fog. It is nothing but fog and jagged rocks and cattails and, like, it's like going through a foggy swamp.
Yeah.
And she gets to the edge of the water, and there's feathers or ash or weird stuff falling all over the place, and there's Schrader's mask and Macy's mask, and then there's also Macy's wings ripped and laid in there, and, like, everything's kind of covered in possible blood, question mark?
Yeah.
Who knows? And so as Rhonda's going to reach for Schrader's mask, something comes up and grabs her arm. And then she freaking freaks out, stumbles backwards, and this thing comes out of the lake, water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, she starts getting chased by the monsters. It looks like these
Creatures from the Black Lagoon type thing.
Yeah, like stuff coming out of the water. She starts panicking and, like, they start cornering her.
She runs backwards to go towards Chip, and Chip's lying on the ground getting his intestines eaten.
Yeah.
And then she runs off to the side. She drops her glasses and they get stepped on.
Yep.
And then she trips, falling backwards and hitting her head down, like, a steep incline.
Yeah, probably like...
A few feet.
Yeah, probably like a 4-foot fall.
Yeah.
Backwards, and she, like, hit her head and passed out. She ends up coming to. The camera's, like, focused on her face, and you can, like, hear
Macy
being like, oh God.
Yeah, Macy and Sarah and everyone are like, oh my God, like, dude, I don't know if they say, do we kill her? But they're like, oh God, like, is she alive? Or, like, stuff like that. Rhonda wakes up and is, like, screams because these things are staring at her, and Schrader takes off his mask first, and he's like, it's a joke, like, a really, really bad joke, it's just us. Schrader's like, okay, we're gonna go home now, and Macy's like, why? And Schrader's like, she's scared out of her fucking mind, what more do you want? And this is where you see, like, the resting bitch face go to, like, pure bitch face, and it's such a subtle shift. Does a really good job of it. And she's like, fine, we'll go pack up.
Yeah, so Chip, Sarah, and Macy, they go to clean up, you know, whatever they were doing, and Schrader stays with Rhonda, and he's, like, trying to comfort her. And she's just kind of, like, not really having it. She's just kind of, like...
She's leaning on him, but terrified. She's crying. She's just done. You can tell she's done.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of hear them in the background, and then you hear...
you hear screaming again from Macy.
Well, you hear, like, giggling at first. You hear, like, random giggling and almost, like, little murmurs. And you...
Oh, yeah, and Macy hears it.
And Macy's like, I'm not in the mood, Chip. And he's like, I didn't do anything. Yes. And they then start screaming, and Schrader's like, oh, fuck, not this again. Like, we're not doing this. And so he leaves Rhonda. And he's like, I'll be right back. And he's like, what the fuck? And she's Macy grabs him and is like, we have to go now. You see all 8 of the kids chasing them. Sarah gets dragged by chains first backwards. And that's really, like, the main quote-unquote death of the kids we see.
Yeah, because the actual kids from the bus, like, it's
came
the
out of the
actual
water.
ones that,
Yeah, and then Rhonda is inside the elevator with all the remaining jack-o'-lantern or jack-o'-lanterns. I can't remember how many are in there. And she locked herself in there. They all run up to the gate, like, saying, let us in, like, it's not a joke, we promise we're not joking. And Trader's like, we're being serious. And it looks like she's gonna let them in, and then she hits the button up and just watches them.
Yep, she goes up the elevator and just watches as they get torn to shreds.
Good for her.
The sounds that they used, pretty gruesome.
Yeah, the squelches. And
that was gooey. A little gross. Yeah, the sound effects they use definitely. They did a great job, obviously, but like.
Yeah, whoever their like sound designer guy was did fantastic. Yeah. As she leaves the quarry, she passes Sam, who just kind of stares at her and stares at the pumpkin, and she just like looks at him and then looks down, and they just pass each other. No consequences, nothing happening. Yep. While that's happening, Lori is still like wandering around, looking for a date. She sees nothing but couples, and eventually gets a call from Danielle saying, "Oh, there's a nice guy here who wants to meet you." And she's like, "Is he hot?" And she's like, "He's really nice." And Lori's like, "So he's ugly as fuck, is what you're telling me." And she's like, "Whatever, like, I'll find my own date still." And she looks over, and this masked guy is staring at her. And I think I want to...
Yeah, so...
I don't know if that's the first time we see him. We might have...
No, so we do get a quick scene of, like...
Oh, earlier, that's right.
Phantom of the Opera type dude, like, and this girl making out in this alley. They're, like, macking hard. And those sound effects were gross, too.
Oh, it was so wet.
It was so bad. Yeah, they're just, like, going at it for a bit. He, like, licks her at one point. He kind of comes away from her for a second, and she starts, like, looking up, and she's, like, covered in blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah, everywhere he was kissing on her is actual bite marks, and she's bleeding from everywhere, and she runs out of the alley screaming for help.
Yeah.
And runs into the couple from the start, and is, like, screaming, "Help me," and the wife is like, "Oh my god," and the husband is like, "Leave her, she's drunk."
Yeah, she's just drunk.
And it's just like... At least make sure she's okay. Also, her name is Allie. So, like, the girl in the alley's name is Allie.
That's so... Oh, God. That is ridiculous.
I thought it was fun.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
So that was a little... We got a cut of that earlier. And so that same guy that was macking on this chick shows up in Lori's now timeline and is staring at her. And she's like, I got it. Like, no worries. We get Lori walking into the forest. And she's like... She looks like Little Red Riding Hood walking to Grandma's house because she's walking through the forest. And she hears twigs snapping. And finally she's like, "I've had enough. Just come out. Like, it's not funny." And the masked guy shows up behind her. And then it cuts to the girls at this bonfire party, like, looking.
Well, the masked guy doesn't he, like, attack her?
No. He just shows up behind her. And then it quick cuts. That's it.
Oh, I thought...
He might lunge at her, but we don't see him do anything to her.
Really? Because I swear to God, there's a point where, like... He goes to, like, bite her neck or something, and she screams.
No, maybe that is then.
But then it cuts to all the ladies at the party being like,
he doesn't,
"Where's
like,
your sister?"
We don't see it happen. It's like he lunges at her and says something about, like, "What big eyes you have," or, like, something like that.
He makes a Little Red Riding joke.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Danielle and Janet talking and drinking and, like, asking, like, she's late and blah, blah, blah. Like, she'll be fine. She's a big girl. And then a Red Riding Hood cloak drops out of the sky. And they're like, "Oh my God, Lori." And they go over to it and open it. And it's the masked guy begging for help.
He's like, "Oh, go, duh." And you're like, oh my God, like, this guy's fucked up.
Yeah. And Lori comes walking out of the woods. And all the girls are like, "You're late. God, like, what happened?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I followed their advice because Maria and Janet earlier had said, play hard to get."
Yeah.
And she's like, "And he bit me."
Yeah. She's like, "I played hard to get, and he bit me."
And they get her a drink, and Maria walks over to the masked guy and pulls out his, like, fake vampire teeth. And she's like, "Damn, these are, like, really good." And she's like, "What's your name, sweetheart?" And he's like, Stephen Wilkins."
Yeah, and that's when you realize, oh my God, Stephen Wilkins... That was his date at the fair, was the one that he bit up like crazy.
And more murder in people.
Yeah, because he did kill her. She ended up leaving that girl for dead next to some hobos.
Allie gets retaken back into the alley and then left, like, she just is a passed out drunk girl next to a bunch of people. So
he's just on a spree tonight until, he
picked the wrong girl.
Yeah.
And Maria's like, "Oh, I'm glad you're going to be her first. You seem sweet," or something like that. And you pan around, and all of the men that were here are now either killed or knocked out, unclear. Everyone is on the ground.
Yeah.
And all of the girls are just
They start
partying.
dancing, and they start tearing off their clothes, and like intense music plays.
Yeah, it's Sweet Dreams.
Yes.
By Marilyn Manson.
That's
playing.
right.
And she like Lori gets on top of Mr. Wilkins and makes the same joke of my, what big eyes you have or whatever. And she's got like a full maw of teeth now that are all like super sharp. Her eyes are like yellow and like she's got like these wolfish qualities to her.
Yeah, and then cut back to the ladies, and they're starting to tear off, like their clothes are gone, so now they're starting to tear off their flesh.
Yeah, you get them like a really good cut of someone cutting down a girl's spine and like ripping open, and there's fur underneath.
Yeah.
You get someone like taking off their stocking and then taking off the flesh of their leg, and just like flesh is just getting thrown everywhere like it's clothing. And that's when you realize this is a pack of werewolves.
Yeah.
And this is her first kill.
Yes. And this is something they do all the time. And then all the jokes make sense. Oh, it's cliche that she dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood.
There's some other jokes we skipped over of like Daniel saying Mom always said she was the runt of the litter.
Yes, I was
and
just
like,
about to mention that. So
and then it's sheep's meadow, like they're wolves in a sheep meadow and that kind of stuff.
But then you're like, oh my god, it all makes sense now. And you're
Sam
like,
was just
what
watching.
a great twist too, because like the entire time you're sitting there like, how are these girls gonna die? And then you get to the point where dude's laying on the ground, and for half a second you're thinking, okay, are these ladies vampire hunters? And then you're like, oh my god, no. The vampire's not a vampire. It's fucking Steve Wilkins.
Yeah.
And they're not vampire. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god.
It's the first, like, true supernatural thing. Like, because we get the ghost, right? And that's kind of, for me, just a given in a bunch of, like, Halloween movies is you usually get, like, a ghost or a paranormal thing.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, yeah, the ghost of the kids makes sense given the plot line and stuff. And then you get werewolves out of nowhere. And it was like, fuck yes. And I want to know the lore of this pack so bad. I want to know, like, do you only hunt on Halloween? Like, why is she's 22 and this is her first like kill? Like, what's going on with that? Like, what's happening? Like, a little later we find out they put their flesh back on. How does that work? Does it regrow? Does it just like slip back on? Like, I want to know the lore of this pack so bad, and we get nothing more than this. This is like, this is it. It cuts away from them. And then we get Sam is, I said this, but I think we might have talked over it. Sam is sitting on a log watching them. Yeah. He's just like a little happy guy. He's like, oh, look at my werewolves doing their thing.
He's just keeping an eye, you know.
And we get a like little earlier tag, and we get 3 kids dressed as clowns going up to a creepy house that does not have any lights on, which is the universal Halloween sign for don't trick or treat here. We don't have candy, or we're not home, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they knock. The door opens to immense darkness, and something with glowing eyes chases them out while it's like growling and scampering, and then it's just Spite.
It's just Spite, and then old man Krieg comes walking out, and he grabs the dog, and oh wait, doesn't he take their candy? Yeah,
they drop their candy, and he like takes their candy and brings Spite inside and takes the mask off of Spite, and he has his fireplace going, and he's like burning old photographs in the fireplace, and he like sits down and is watching like weird infomercials.
Yeah.
And everything in his house is so old. Like, if you've ever heard the expression clicker for a TV remote, this is why, is because it's a clicker. It's a box that has one thing, and it's to change channels.
Yep.
His TV has like the bunny ears on it. Did you see the gramophone in the corner?
I didn't. Oh my god,
so
that's funny.
It's like the older version of a record player where it has like the big horn on it is a gramophone. He's like hand drying stuff in his kitchen. It looks like his house is like medieval mixed with like the 40s maybe.
Yeah.
Like everything's stonework, and he has all of this old stuff in there.
That's so funny. Honestly, I wasn't paying super close attention to his house because one, I was intrigued by the cooking show he was watching.
Yeah.
But also, anytime Spite was on the screen, I was just like, ooh, dog. So, like, I couldn't tell you what the rest of his house looked like until later, but it's easier to tell what it looks like later, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, his house is just like, it is old and meant to look old. Like, nothing in this house has ever been updated, and we've seen other people's houses, like, from the trick-or-treaters' point of view, and from the married couple, like, it's maybe 80s, 90s, like, it's not super, super old, but it's not like smartphone new, right? Like maybe it is based in the early 2000s, but all of his shit is not from the early 2000s or 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
Is old.
Yeah.
And Spite starts barking at something, and the front gate is creaking, and there's giggling, and then there's an egg thrown at his window, and he grabs a bat, like he's gonna beat some kids with a bat, and you're just like, what the hell is this guy's problem?
Yeah. And then he goes out, he hears a knock at the front door, goes out and he opens the door and no one's there, but there's a ton of jack-o'-lanterns in his front yard.
So first he goes into his backyard, because he thinks the kids ran around the house to the backyard, and this is where we get the scene with Mr. Wilkins. And then
Are
he
you
goes
sure?
to... Yeah.
Because I thought the dog ran away and he didn't even know that the dog went outside for a minute. That's why it had the interaction with...
So what I have is the egg, he gets a bat, and he goes outside because Spite is eating the phallic finger. And then we get the viewpoint of who we now know as Sam watching the house. He locks all of the doors on his back door and then goes to his front door, and it's covered in jack-o'-lanterns. So we get the backyard with Mr. Wilkins first before he goes to the front yard, and it is covered in jack-o'-lanterns.
I thought because when he's out front and he just, like, he sees the jack-o'-lanterns, he goes to smash one, but he stops right before because Spite starts barking. And I thought it was because Spite was barking in the backyard.
No, he's barking at something upstairs now.
That's right, yeah. So he goes back in to the house because Spite's barking in the house, but he, like, walks in and he hears running around upstairs.
Yes.
And Spite goes upstairs, too.
Spite's already upstairs.
Or, yeah, yes.
So Spite ran upstairs and was barking, and then he grabs his shotgun from literally above the fireplace.
Yeah. And then he sneaks very slowly up the stairs.
And doesn't check any other room.
No, he just goes up and then down the hallway.
To the master room, to his bedroom. And he's looking around. He doesn't look through, blah, blah, blah. He looks at his bed, and there's something wriggling underneath it. And I literally thought he was just going to shoot it. I didn't even think he'd pull back the covers, because he's, like, ready. And he pulls it back, and it's one of those, like, wind-up hand toys that's kind of just wriggling in his bed. He looks over, and there's a pumpkin that just ignites like a flamethrower, and all over the wall, written in blood, is "Trick or treat, give me something good to eat."
Yeah. It's like, he looks around, and the entire room is covered in red text. Just the same thing over and over again.
And as he's by his bed, Sam cuts his Achilles tendon.
Yeah, he reaches out from under the bed and slices his Achilles tendon on his ankle. And ow. What that is one of those that, like...
And it's, like, up here, too. It's not even, like, exactly, like, down where it's just your Achilles. It's, like, the up higher where it's just...
Ugh.
And it's done with a razor blade that's in a candy bar.
Yeah.
Which is probably from Wilkins's house, because his whole check your candy.
I thought that was just Sam's, like, iconic murder weapon.
No, I'm pretty sure.
I guess that would be the candy.
Yeah, the sucker.
The sucker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Because, well, like, Charlie died because he ate poison candy.
He also, he did grab a handful of candy from...
He grabbed the chocolate bar from Wilkins, yeah.
Yeah, so that is true.
So...
Yeah, so now we have Krieg fighting for his life. He goes out the bedroom door. He trips down the stairs because the stairs are now covered in candy and glass shards.
And razor blades.
Razor blades. And so he trips and falls down the stairs and lands and slices up his hands and everything. He gets up and tries to go get to the front door, but he has, like, 6 locks on his front door.
So allegedly it's supposed to be 8, one for each kid.
Oh.
I didn't count the locks, but, like, it was trivia in, I think, IMDb or one of the websites I was looking at, that there was a lock for each kid.
Interesting. Well, we'll get to that later. But, so he has a ton of locks on the door, and he's trying to, like, get them undone, but his hands are all covered in glass, and, like, he's got glass in his fingers and
he's bleeding,
stuff. So
and he's like...
You can imagine how an old man trying to fight...
They're like slide locks, like the, they're just called slide locks, right? Like the slide locks, the chain locks, there's bolt locks, there's like every kind of lock on here besides like a padlock.
And as he's trying to do this, you get cuts to, like, you can see behind him, and you see Sam, like, peek out from the top of the stairs, like, and he starts crawling on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's so cool. I always love that, because, like, that kind of stuff freaks me the fuck out. We'll watch Hereditary and do an episode on that at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, that shit, like when they're
stuff on ceilings.
yeah, like ugh, just like don't Spider-Man in my house, like ugh.
And so then he jumps on the back of Kree, and this whole like fight scene ensues of Krieg. Jeez, Krieg.
What? We have a friend named Kree, and it's easy to think Craig.
But
it's not Craig, it's Krieg.
Well, we just did Uncanny Annie where there's Craig in there, so it's just like Krieg is trying to get Sam off of him, and then he runs to the window, and this is where we get the whole like banging on the window Wilkins scene.
Yeah.
And then, Sam tackles him, and he rips off the mask, and it's just a screaming pumpkin head.
Mm-hmm.
It like
he rips off the
burlap sack.
The burlap sack, and Sam is not a child. He is a pumpkin demon thing. Yeah, again, the body of a child, but the head of a literal pumpkin. But like, it's not an actual like.
It's what's that movie? Is it called Pumpkinhead? That one horror movie where like the cover is a screaming pumpkin. Like it looks like it has a carved out jaw. Like not carved. If a pumpkin grew in the shape of a skull, is what it looks like. So it has the
skull. Yes, that's a good way to put it.
That is yes.
But it like screams like a fucking like a little creature.
Yeah, a little banshee type thing.
Yeah,
and Krieg gets his shotgun and is able to shoot him.
Yeah,
shoots him in the head, then goes in for a double tap because he has the classic shotgun that you can only have 2 shells in at a time. Mm-hmm. Does it back up, shoots him in the chest, shoots off his hand, and then as he shoots off his hand, his like blood and organs and stuff are pumpkin guts.
Yeah,
he's just a pumpkin boy.
You just see like pumpkin guts flying everywhere, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just
a little guy.
Yeah, he's just a little guy.
And he goes to call 911 on a rotary phone.
Yeah,
and so he gets the and he gets on to 911, and they're like, 911, please hold.
Yeah.
And they
he's
put
like,
him on
what
hold.
the fuck?
They put him on hold for like 2 seconds before he gets someone else, and he's like just screaming hello. And with classic phones, you can just rip the phone cord out of the wall.
Yeah.
Which either gets ripped off or cut, and he has no more phone because that's how old school phones work.
Yep.
And then he gets stabbed again because Sam's little lone hand is doing the thing from Addams Family and is wandering around cutting things.
Yep. So he gets stabbed in the shoulder, right? I think he gets...
Stabs him in the foot.
In the foot?
The lone hand stabs him in the foot, yeah.
Where am I getting stabbed in the shoulder?
I don't know.
That's fucking crazy.
Because he does not get stabbed in the shoulder.
That's fucking crazy.
You know,
it's not the shoulder, but...
Yeah, so he gets stabbed in the foot, and the hand scampers back to its body and kind of like taps Sam and wakes him up, and it's just like waves at him. And then Sam just like sticks his hand back on, and it's just like, oh, look, we're back to normal.
Yep.
And he puts his face, or the burlap sack back on because the hand brought it to him. He pulls out the pumpkin sucker, which does not have a bite in it yet.
No, it's the full sucker.
And bites it, and then goes after Krieg. Krieg knocks over his little like end table to get a bottle that he smashes open. And fun fact, it has the, I believe, art director's name on it.
Oh.
Or like production person's name on it, which was really fun. And he goes and is about to like, he's holding it up, and Sam comes down and swings the sucker really hard, and Krieg is screaming. And then he opens his eyes and I was like, eh? And Sam stabbed a candy bar instead. I was like, yes. And he grabs it and bites it, and it's like, candy bar. And leaves Krieg alone.
Yep, and then just leaves.
The door opens by itself and closes by itself, and he just like is a happy little kid.
And then it cuts to later, kids knocking on Krieg's door.
We get the fireplace first.
Oh yeah, so it pans over to the fireplace actually, and there's a photo in it, and it's a photo of
Krieg as the bus driver.
The 8 kids and the bus driver from the story from before. And you're like, oh my god, Krieg was the bus driver. And that's why earlier we were saying, like...
The 8 locks for
8
the
locks
8 kids.
for 8 kids.
Yeah, he was the one who did it. And throughout, we didn't really talk about it, but he has a breathing issue throughout the entire time. Like, anytime he talks, he's, like, wheezing.
Yeah.
And it's because of the whole almost drowning incident. And, it makes more sense that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we get a little tag that says later... And we get kids trick-or-treating, and he's just handing out handfuls of mints, and he, like, had to wrap himself up, so his, like, arm is in a sling, his head's all wrapped up, he's, like, pulling out handfuls of mints from his arm sling, and I'm like, yeah, what else would an old man have?
Oh, but he is being so generous to the kids with that candy now. He's He's like, I ain't doing this shit again.
And we kind of get quick cuts to what the other storylines that are happening. We get Billy Wilkins, who is dressed as his dad, handing out candy. We get Rhonda crossing the street, which is actually the opening shot that we didn't talk about. There, a little girl dressed as a witch is crossing the street with a lone pumpkin, almost gets hit by a car. Is Rhonda almost getting hit by the werewolf girls, who are all crossing the street. And then we get useless husband and Emma walking the street, following the whole cycle, showing that the first story we saw was actually the last one that happens.
Yes.
And then it cuts back to Krieg going inside, instantly getting a knock on his door, opening the door, and it is the decomposed, waterlogged children he killed.
Yep. And they're like, trick or treat.
And then it cuts to black.
And you're sitting there just like, I felt kind of bad for Krieg, not gonna lie, because like, well, okay, yes, he was actually going to carry out the deed.
Yep.
It wasn't like he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to murder all these kids. Like, he had a group of parents approach him and give him a substantial amount of money. And he was probably a depressed fucking bus driver who didn't have shit to his name. So he's like,
yeah,
gotta do something, you know. Not to say that I condone that, obviously, but
we don't condone killing children of any manner.
But like, when you see him all covered in bandages and he's just handing out candy, don't you just feel the slightest bit bad for him?
Yeah, but
and then the kids show up and you're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
Because you get the weird kind of like back and forth, like, oh, is this asshole really gonna get a redemption arc? Like, Sam just let him go, why? And then you get the kids that kill him and you're like, this is a much better ending. Yeah. And so, like, while I do feel for him, I don't feel that much for him.
Piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit that took money to kill 8 children.
Yeah.
And fuck you for that.
No, 100%.
So there's a whole, I didn't get, like, because I look in Reddit for a lot of, like, not information, but to kind of see what everyone else feels about these movies. And this one's a cult classic. This is a classic top tier lens on top top Halloween movies every year. Yeah. Wonderful one. Each story is to portray, like, a different age group. There's the rules of Halloween that we didn't really touch on, but it's, like, not a niche thing. Like, it's not really talked about, but they're like the 4 rules of Halloween that you're supposed to follow, and each story kind of leads into those 4 rules, because we have, like, wear a costume, always pass out treats, never blow out a jack-o'-lantern,
check your candy,
always check your candy. And you kind of get a little bit of those in the stories. Like with the girls, you get the always wear a costume, always pass out treats, you know, that's Kree's thing, or Craig, whatever, the old man Kree. I'm so sorry if you're listening to this. And then we get the never blow out the jack-o'-lantern with the couple, and always check your candy from Wilkins. And so they each kind of have a quote-unquote moral of their little story of following the rules of Halloween.
I did like the children's one. They kind of did make it like an adult's Goosebump episode, kind of. Like the children's story. Like, you could definitely like cut that up into its own thing and show that to your kid. It'd probably scare them, but it wouldn't be like if you showed them an actual horror movie. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It definitely has a lot of good Goosebumps vibes to it.
100%.
For sure. Because, like, it's also one of the things of you never see a murder happen on screen. Yeah. Like, the closest we get is Charlie getting poisoned, but then he's screaming later as, like, he's thrown in the ditch. Yeah. So we don't see him get beheaded. We don't see, like, any of the stuff happen on screen, which is such a classic thing to do in horror movies that we very thoroughly enjoy. We've talked about this before. Like, your brain imagines worse than whatever they can show you on screen. So, like, having all of those sounds and stuff when the kids went into the quarry and died, like, you're just imagining body parts getting ripped up, their flesh ripped, like... Yeah, like, they can't show that, and there's no way they could do it justice, because then we'd just be like, oh, that's really cheesy effects.
Yeah, and that's why, like, leaving it up to the imagination half the time is way better for something like that than to just, like, try to make it exact.
Exactly.
Like, you know, Smile 2?
I've not seen it. I've seen the first one.
We'll have to do that one. Smile 2 is fucking crazy.
Okay. I wasn't, so, like... Smile and It Follows came out very close together in my head. Whether or not that was actually true, I can not conflated them, but they're very similar concepts in my head. And I did not like It Follows, and I think I ended up watching Smile. No, I don't like that movie at all, and that is the reaction I get all of the time of everyone being like, "Oh, it's such a good horror movie." Maybe I'll give it a chance again. Like, if we want to cover it on the podcast, I will definitely watch it again. But I did not like it, and I remembered liking Smile more. But I haven't seen both.
I just like them both.
it's just, I don't know. It's an STD that follows you around. Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's just not like really my type of horror movie. I do want to like give it a chance because so many people have been like, this is my favorite.
I think it's because a lot of people really fell into the meme of like the killer snail. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's always the whole.
That's like the worst version of the killer snail because it's just like anyone. But like if I walked outside my front door earlier today to like get my trash bins and I just saw like a dude walking towards me because I knew, I'd be like, I'll just kill myself now. You know what I mean? Like, spare me the trouble.
That's fair.
But I don't know. We can talk about that more.
We'll talk about that later.
If we ever make an episode about it.
Highly recommend
watch
Trick or
this
Treat.
movie for Halloween. Do it.
This is our Halloween episode. Yeah, this is our Halloween episode. This comes out the week of Halloween. Or the week before? Oh, it is.
I think, the week before.
This is the week before Halloween. We have something special planned for the week of Halloween. This is a really good either one to watch on Halloween, week of Halloween. Literally just watch this anytime in October and you'll be happy.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you have a bunch of friends or like a date and they're like, I want to watch a Halloween movie.
This is such a good one because
this
also
is a perfect one.
It's not super gory. No. It's not like anything over the top. It's a good all-rounder.
Good twists. It's got like good thinkers, you know, it like gets your brain going on some stuff, but then other things you're just like, I can't wait to just like sit back and watch this unfold. You know what I mean? Like it's also got a lot of good stuff to talk about afterwards too, of like trying to piece together the timeline and like trying to figure out the werewolf lore, or like what happens with the kids. There's a lot of people who just like went crazy with that online. Like people are just like, let's talk about everything about this and what does it all mean? You know, it's
for
great.
Me also doing my research into this, it was harder to find people bashing this movie. Like I barely saw anyone hate on this movie. The most I got was people being like, can you explain to me what happened?
Yeah,
and that's kind of fair. I think
it's easy to lose track, I think, if you, because like this was not the first time you and I had seen it.
No, this is like, maybe my 40th. Like I've seen this movie a lot.
We were able to like sit down and be like, yeah, I know what's gonna, like, you know, this is what this all means and this is how it connects. And but
well, like, and also doing research for this episode, right? Like we got more like the backstory and getting in depth to other things.
But when you watch it for the first time, it's like it is all over the place for sure.
This is a movie I wish I could erase my memory of and rewatch again for the first time.
I feel that, honestly. That's how I feel about the movie that we're gonna do for our Halloween episode.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I really like. Genuinely, I wish I could Men in Black my brain to go rewatch that in theaters, like, today.
Well, if that's not a teaser, I don't know what is.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Follow our Instagram and Threads at No Self Service Pod. Until next time.